So sexuality education is like a spectrum from abstinence only over here, where they're going to teach that is the only way, is to abstain, abstain, abstain. But we know how well that works from a public health perspective. Is it only works if you use abstinence every single time, and humans are just not going to abstain for the rest of their lives. It's not really a great method. So then there's this whole spectrum of curriculum that goes to abstinence based, and then it moves all the way to the very end of what we call comprehensive sex education. And so here are the basic things I think are absolutely necessary. Number one is that the information is medically accurate. And number two, that the information is age appropriate. So I started off this morning, as I mentioned, I was teaching a college class. These are upper level, juniors and seniors. And we were having conversations about fetishes and kinks and BDSM. And I made sure to, and then they're hearing me say that I also teach like kindergartners, first and second graders and their families. We do preschool education as well around this. And that was my case in point, that I am not going to have that conversation with a first grader about that conversation, and really, you're not even going to talk about contraception to kindergartners. That's the age appropriate part that I love about comprehensive sex education, that even middle schoolers aren't even sometimes prepared to have a really comprehensive conversation about birth control and contraception, but we introduce it knowing full well that some are ready. And then the medically accurate part is I am an absolute stickler that the curriculum is using correct terminology for gender or sexual orientation, or so that we're not misgendering people, or that we are not making assumptions about people's sexual orientation, all the way to anatomy and physiology. That I am adamant that kindergartners are much more comfortable using words like penis and vulva and vagina and breasts than even adults are. And so if we can teach them from a young age to use medically accurate terminology about their body, it's just like we wouldn't come up with a funny name for our elbow. We wouldn't come up with a weird little nickname for our leg. We use medically accurate terms like elbow and knee and head, just as we would use penis and breasts and vagina and vulva and clitoris and all the other anatomy. And so medically accurate also goes to, there are some curriculum that still exist out there that really give misinformation about how sexually transmitted infections are transmitted. So for many, many years, we fought in a particular state that notoriously was using a curriculum that was usually medically inaccurate information around HIV. So basically in high schools, teaching young people that HIV was transmitted easily through kissing or through spitting, or just like really medically inaccurate information. And so then what happens is fear and misinformation and myths just get perpetuated, and people become really misinformed about their bodies and about disease or protection or about relationship dynamics. And so bottom line, medically accurate, age appropriate, and then comprehensive, meaning that we're not going to leave out portions. Like we're not going to just not talk about masturbation, or we're not going to not talk about. And so comprehensive, I come from a public health perspective where we believe it is our ethical responsibility to give everyone all the information, and then that person can make their decision about whether they want to engage in that or not, or whether they want to use that form of birth control or not. But by withholding information, which some curriculums do, people don't even have the choice, or they don't know about the options that they have around sexual behavior or orientation, or around their gender identity, or around contraception, barrier methods. And so I'm very stickler about the term comprehensive, meaning we're not leaving things out just because we think that population doesn't deserve to know that or something. So, and of course, every school district and every place has a very different policy around what they will allow in a curriculum in a school, especially a public school or private school.